Okay. Are we good? Are we good, people? No? Still no? I don't understand. Why for me? Do not understand why we're not doing this. Let me see if I can't figure it out. Yes. Yes, finally. Hi everyone. It's Kane's Corner Podcast, live on YouTube. Boy, it doesn't get any better than this, does it? Can't wait till you show this to your friends. Hey, check out Gold, who went, I don't know, 7 minutes without making any sense, without being able to hear or to be heard, something like that. Has it been a long day? I don't feel like I just played for the Hurricanes tonight. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. No place like it. Oh my gosh. All right. Um, let's try to get to this, and we'll try to be as quickly as quick as possible. And I apologize for the technical issues. I don't know why it didn't work. Anyway, worst puck management I've seen from Carolina in 5 years covering the team, as closely as I cover the team. And it wasn't just turnovers because there were enough of those, but officially the giveaway number was just 6. And I thought that there was probably 15. Um, but it was just it was a comedy of stick handling mistakes, poor passing, passing to a skate as opposed to a stick, not being able to handle a pass that should have been handled. It was one of those days that it just seems, as I said in the post-game show, it seemed very preseason-y. I thought Carolina handled the puck like they hadn't played in a while. I mean, they hadn't played in 3 days, but that's not long enough to get to the point where you can't just string passes together. So, and let me just tell people, there's no way of, I guess I'll tweet it out later and I'll tell people to get to about the 7-minute mark where they can finally hear me. But it was just one of those games where it wasn't, Carolina didn't lack effort. They didn't lack want to. I didn't think they were great in the third period. I didn't think they got to the middle of the ice enough, especially in the third period. But there were chances to be had. There were goals to be scored, especially in the first period, that frankly, when you don't score those, you're asking to lose because you're not going to get 20 grade A scoring chances. Carolina, I think, had 11. And again, the third period was probably their least effective offensive period. Part of that is Philadelphia sitting back. And Philadelphia, by the way, blocked 30 shots. That's a big factor in what happened. Carolina also lost the faceoff battle. But just going through it, Jordan Martinook on a rebound of a Brent Burns shot in the first period. Should be a goal. Not a goal. Gets Jerry Code Kaniemi after Philadelphia's own turnover. He comes in alone. Should be a goal. Blockered away by Carter Hart. Jack Drury right out in front. Steph Nason, great pass. First period. I don't know what Jack was thinking about. He was obviously thinking about 5 different things. And ultimately, he knows that he just bunted the puck right back into Carter Hart. I mean, they should have had at least 2 goals in the first period, maybe 3, and they got none. And then you give up the goal to start the second period. That's a Dmitry Orlov turnover. It's a bad turnover. And the puck comes right back to Ryan Poehling right on top of just, 5 feet from the top of the crease. And he went top netting, and that was that. And it's 3-0. And well, man, it was going to be hard enough to get 2 goals tonight. Now you got to get 3. They did get one back. Steph Nason made it 3-1. Great pass from Tony DeAngelo. But they couldn't get the next goal. How Michael Bunting didn't score in the third period is a mystery to me. This was the best pass I've ever seen Tony DeAngelo make. It's straight up the middle of the ice, right to Bunting, who had entered the zone. He comes in all alone. He gets Hart to commit, gets him down on the ice. He backhands it into maybe 2/3 of the net is empty. and he hit the crossbar. Reminded me a little bit, although not quite the same impact, as Seth Jarvis in the first overtime of game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, when if Seth buries that, who knows what the rest of the series looks like. Either way, the Hurricanes had their chances to score and didn't. And when you get your chances to score and don't, it's kind of hard to come back. All right, so we talked about the puck management. We talked about the scoring opportunities, and there were more. Those are just four glaring ones for me. But there's a couple of other things I want to get to. And I'm going to bring up last year for a second. Now, remember that last year, Carolina won the division, its second best record in hockey. The year before they won the division, had the, I think, third best record in hockey. And the year before that, they won the Pandemic Central, had the third best record in the sport, best record in the East, in a division that had Florida and Tampa in it, by the way. And the Canes play a certain way. And Jordan Stahl talked about it after the game. And we all know what to expect. When you turn on a Hurricanes game, it's one of the reasons why they're such a good regular season team. When you turn on a Canes game, you know what you're going to see. You're going to see relentless forechecking. You're going to see suffocating the puck defensively. For the most part, you're going to see smart decisions. You're going to see a cycle, shots on goal, and not a lot of scoring chances allowed. That's basically been their MO for the entirety of the Rod Brindamore era. And believe it or not, they're not as far off of that as you would think. But they're not close to being the consistent team that we have seen. And because of that, they are searching for it. And I don't even know how to explain it other than if you're an athlete, if you play a sport, if you, for instance, if you are a golfer, you know that there are times where you go out to play and you can't find it. And all you can do is think. And all you can do is think, like, I'm doing this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And right now, it's a team to me that looks like it is thinking. It is trying to do the right thing. It is not a lack of effort. It is right now, everything feels slow. So when you watch the game, how many shots are blocked when Carolina gets the puck? And then there's a little hesitation, and then, oh, I should shoot it. By that time, it's too late. There have to be quick shots. Too much pulling the puck back and then letting it go. By that time, again, too late. And Rod talked about trying to make the perfect play, trying to find a backdoor pass when one isn't there. I thought this is what I wrote down tonight. Carolina definitely trying to force offense. And right now, it's because they are thinking. And after the game Saturday night against Tampa, everybody said the same thing. That's the way it's supposed to look. Now they're back. Except here's the problem. You're not back until you're back. Until it becomes just natural. And right now, it ain't natural. Part of me, and I said this to Tripp and Rod this morning. I was over here for the morning skate. Part of me wanted the Hurricanes to get to play Monday. Like, you play that game on Saturday night, man, come home, get right back on the ice Monday. And I'm not saying that it looked like this because it was 2 days after that, because that would be a terrible excuse. But when you play a game as well as they did Saturday night in Tampa, when you had to, you almost want to do it again right away. And the Hurricanes didn't do that. They obviously, had 2 more days and they came out here. And again, Rod was right. First period, tons of scoring chances. The mistake that led to the, Owen Tippett goal, right? To me, it's one that Kochetkov needed to get. It's in between the arm and the body on the blocker's side. Was there a screen going across in front of him? Yes, there was a screen, but I think he saw the puck the whole way and his body was in position, but it gets through 1-0. You can overcome one bad goal in a regular season game. You can overcome one bad goal to a Flyers team that isn't super offensive. The goal at the end of the first period was a killer. And it's got to be the fourth or fifth time this year that the Hurricanes have given up a late first period goal. Forget about the other periods. And the other periods, it's not like they don't matter. They do. But I mean, so many times this year, a late first period goal either took them from tie game to trailing or maybe lead to even. And those goals just kill you. And this is another one in the last minute and a half of the first period. And then you compound that by the Dmitry Orlov turnover early in the second, and all of a sudden it's 3-0. So they're thinking too much. They're not getting the most out of their chances, which we're kind of used to. I mean, that's kind of what the Hurricanes have been, even under Rod, even as they've been one of the best teams in the league. They have not figured out a way. Their percentage of finishing their grade A chances is not nearly high enough. And it's one of the things that leaves them vulnerable at times. And today, Michael Bunting caught Hurricane's disease. I don't know how he didn't finish that. The entire net is empty, and he just flipped it off the crossbar. But as long as Carolina is generating those chances, that's cool. And they didn't give up a ton tonight. Philadelphia had 4 grade A scoring chances all game. All game. I talked about the power play after the game, but the power play was an extension of the 5-on-5 play, in my opinion. It was bad puck management, poor passing, poor decisions, passes that were a little soft. Not good. In terms of being mad at players tonight, I mean, I thought Dmitry Orlov struggled in a big way tonight. I do. The Hurricanes invested a lot. Bunting should have scored the goal. Orlov was definitely culpable, maybe on 2, but I definitely won the goal, the Paling goal that made it 3-0. And he also was kind of fighting the puck, fighting some decisions. There were giveaways that didn't need to be there. Although, again, he was not credited with a giveaway, and I'm stunned. And I've been saying this for a while, as much as I like Tony DeAngelo, and I thought DeAngelo, for the most part, played well tonight. I did. Tony's going to make some defensive mistakes. Those never bother me so much because it's part of his game. Tony is there also to provide offense, and I thought he did that tonight. The pass to Nason for the only Hurricanes goal. The pass to Bunting that should have been a goal. And I thought Tony was otherwise fairly good. But he obviously had his own defensive issues. The Hurricanes did not allow a ton tonight. But when they did, they were doozies. The bad goal, then the 2 point-blank opportunities that, honestly, first one is just scramble city. It's I think Shane Willis called it a Chinese fire drill. I have no idea if the Chinese fire drill works or not. It didn't, if that's what we call what happened at the end of the first period to Carolina. And then the turnover that becomes the Paling goal 29 seconds into the third period means self-inflicted wounds, to be honest. I've been saying this for a while. As much as I like Tony, I still think Jalen Chatfield is the better pair for Orlov at this stage. And I don't know what you do. I don't know how you rectify that situation. They're not going to play. They could if they wanted. If Rod Brindamore wants to go 11-7 for a while, he could do it. and this way you can keep Tony DeAngelo on the ice and play uh, Jalen Chatfield with Dmitry Orlov some. But that's not great for anybody, to be honest, because you're cutting D'Angelo's ice time, you're cutting Chatfield's ice time. They both bring something to the table. Um, but I would simply play Chatfield more. Got to figure out a way to get the best out of Dmitry Orlov. Tracy said to me after the game tonight that he thinks that Orlov has been better on his offside. So I offer this as a maybe a compromise. How about Orlov on his offside and Chatfield on his offside? So the third pair with both guys on their offside because we know Chatfield can play it. But maybe they try D'Angelo there too. Maybe that will work. Rod said after the game that it's his job to figure it out. I don't disagree. It is his job to figure it out. Um, but I do think that just to go back to that golf analogy I was making earlier, anybody who's played, you know that sometimes it only takes one to relax you. It only takes one. If you're, oh, that's what I wasn't doing. I don't know. But we're 16 games in. At some point, at some point, this is who you are. I'm not saying we're there yet, but we're not far from being there. And it does have to change. We lost the face-off circle tonight. It was not a physical game. It really wasn't a physical game. But Carolina came out on the short end. A couple of things that we have talked about over and over and over and over again, and that's opportunity. So we're still there's three players that we talked about. The first one was Teuvo Teravainen, who I think we all agree seized the opportunity when Andre was out and cemented himself as a top six forward. Although he was all over the place tonight, Rod wasted just one period before he put Stahl, Martin, and Foss back together. They stayed together for the last two periods. They started the second period together. Teravainen dropped down with Drury and Nason, but honestly, that's a line that should have scored tonight. And it is a line that produced the goal. Drury had the secondary assist. He gave the puck to D'Angelo, who passed to Nason. And Teravainen was there for a time. But then by the end of the game, it was Teravainen, Aho, and Jarvis. And Michael Bunting had dropped down to play with Nason and Drury. Either way, that's the line that should score. Teravainen took his opportunity. We have two players that are being presented an opportunity that doesn't get better. And one of them, the early returns are mid, and the other, the early returns are not good. I'm not saying that Jack Drury isn't playing well. He's fine. But if the Hurricanes are going to maximize this season, that's not what they need. You don't need fine because Carolina's got a checking line that isn't scoring right now. Stahl, Foss, Martinook are snake bit. George Stahl has not scored since the opener. And he has one goal this year. He has not scored since the opener. Martinook, who had how many last year, has no goals. Again, both guys are playing well. They're not paid to score. But as I like to say, they're not paid to not score. Jesper Fast has one goal. So that line combined has two goals. But you can live with that if your other three lines are producing points. And right now, Jack Drury's got 2 assists in 16 games. And I will just point this out. The opportunity is still there for him to lock that spot down. But if he can't do it, and if he takes that opportunity like he had in the first period, does nothing with it, then Vasily Ponomarov is gonna come up and get a chance. Ponomarov played 2 games for Tucson, went to Chicago. They, Hurricanes reassigned him to the Wolves, and he's got a goal and 2 assists in 2 games. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Give him a couple of games, get his feet under him because he just came back from injury. Because remember, he got hurt the first day of training camp. So what was that? September 20th, almost 2 months ago. He's played 4 games in the AHL. You give Ponomarov about, I don't know, 10 minor league games, see what he's doing, and if there's a hot streak there or if he's playing well otherwise, might as well. At the very least, maybe it wakes Jack Drury up. There's room. Hurricanes are only carrying 2 extra players right now. Yaro Halak has not been signed, and it's very possible that Halak, might be signed and then asked to go to the minor leagues to play about, I don't know, 5 or so games, and if he does, great, and if not, I actually saw Halak up on the, up here in the press box. I don't know what's gonna happen there. We'll get to, the other opportunity in a second. The Hurricanes right now have an extra roster spot open, and they don't have to send Drury to the minor leagues. They could put him in the press box and let Vasily Ponomarov play. So Jack needs to understand that he's not gonna get this opportunity forever. That's the second guy, and the third guy is Pyotr Kochetkov. He's got a 4-year contract, pays him $2 million a year. It's really a backup. It's a number 2 goalie contract. We saw what he did for 6 weeks last year, from Veterans Day until the 20th of December. He was one of the best goalies in the league. He had a collision with, I think it was Jesper Bratt of the Devils, wasn't the same since. That doesn't mean that it was the collision that did it. He just stopped playing, and then it was hard to get back at it. And there were times last year where they tried to almost force him into the role, and he just couldn't capitalize on it. He'd have a good game, then have a bad game. He played really well in Tampa on Saturday. Tonight, the first goal was bad. Possibly didn't see it, but I think he did. If he doesn't see it, then it is what it is. Maybe he should have seen it. The other 2 goals, not his fault. But the opportunity is there for Kochetkov to become, at least in the absence of Freddie Anderson, the opportunity is there for him to assume the role. Because think about this. Antti Raanta, I think, is going to give you more consistent performances. But the truth of the matter is that Antti can't play every day because he'll break. And right now, without Anderson and without another goalie in the system, what happens if Raanta breaks? Kochetkov and who? So I think in their mind, the way they want this to go, Kochetkov good enough to be the guy. Raanta continues in a backup role, maybe more of a timeshare. Maybe a 55-45 split, 60-40 at best. But that to them, that's the way to keep both goalies healthy. Not that Kochetkov is a pillar of uh, physical consistency either. He had his own injury issues. So anyway, that's where I believe the um, those three players have either had their opportunity and seized it, or we're still trying to wait. We are still trying to other than that, let's see if we can go through some of the comments. We finally got sound, but let me go to the beginning because there were some questions out here. Let me see what we have. Shivam, probably totally irrelevant to tonight's game, but I think longtime fans all know that we somehow suck in national TV games. Well, that's coincidental. There was the ESPN Plus Hulu curse 2 years ago. But I don't think they suck in national TV games. They advanced how many rounds of the playoffs? They've been good. They've been a good playoff team. Those are all shown on national TV. Matthew, the big stars no showed, wasted power plays, passing was god awful. Uh, yeah, but that was everybody. It wasn't big. That wasn't just big stars. Unless everybody's a big star. The Hurricanes are bad with the puck tonight. We've already established that. Um, so I'm not. I mean, we've had plenty, plenty of evidence, right? They were just not great with the puck. Yes, Nathaniel, I did. I tried turning it on and then turning it off and then turning it back on. I had other issues before we could get the podcast going. Before you couldn't get the YouTube going. Other than that, we don't need to talk to Pelv. Pelv is a waste of our time. Anyway, I wonder the we, there we go. Taken care of. I'm not going to put too much stock in a game, even though we have seen a lot of not a lot, but we've seen enough of these types of games so far this season and in the past. But um, what we're looking for is this team to get to their game. They got it Saturday, and now they have to do it again and again and again and again, and that's what Jordan Stahl talked about. And it really starts one shift at a time. And the final point being made is something I believe Rod made after the game, and even Jordan Stahl may have made. They have to have enough belief in what they're doing, what they're supposed to be doing, that even if they are behind in the game, that's the way to do it. And right now, because things aren't going well, I just don't think they trust anything, even though what Rod Brindamore is trying to get them to do is something that has worked year after year after year. It's 3 years in a row the Hurricanes won divisions playing a certain way. So they're just going to have to believe in it. When they do, I think they'll be fine. But you're not back until you're back. You can't just wish it into existence. We tried to wish Teuvo Teravainen back last year, never happened. And maybe it will happen for this team. There are no guarantees. Maybe this year's team will be like Florida was last year. It is a possibility, right? Very real possibility. They'll have the same regular season that Florida had last year, and maybe they'll have the same postseason. I don't know, but the Hurricanes were a mess tonight, and they have to sit with it for 2 days before they go play Pittsburgh. With all of that said, today was a day, man, and tonight was a night, and I appreciate your time. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna's crew do a great job. You should check it out online, aluminumcompany.com. Free no obligation estimate there. The best customer service in the industry. Until Saturday, Canes and Penguins right here, PNC Arena. I'm Adam. We'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out on the Canes Corner podcast.